If there are questions at the end of his presentation, we'll take the questions, but let him go through the process. And can I just have your name for the?
My name's Neil Montgomery.
Neil Montgomery.
N-E-A-L-E. Hey, Neil,
Okay.
how are you?
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you for putting us on the agenda. For the record, again, my name is Alan Portron. We're the civil engineers for our client with all the infrastructure for the project, the 7-Eleven, and then also a self-storage building that's going to be built on the east side of the project. The reason we're here today is twofold. One, as a condition of our permitting with the village, they're asking us to get authorization form signed by the CDD since we're discharging our water into the CDD's master drainage system and we're also accessing the CDD's roads, which obviously, we're a part of the CDD. So it's more of a formality that they want us to go ahead and get the acknowledgement to an authorization form that we're doing these projects. This one plan right here is a permit that was approved back in the early 2000s, I think it was 2004 or so. And basically what it did is it showed that our project, which is these two areas up here, was always designed and intended for our drainage to discharge into this water management system, which is a wetland preserve, part of your master drainage system. So as a condition of water management permit, we do a little bit of pre-treatment, then we discharge into that wetland. Water Management District has essentially approved our design, which is waiting for them to issue the permit in the next 30 days. So that's part of it. And again, Stony Brook Golf Drive will have two access points, one that goes in between the 7-Eleven and an out parcel, and then also building this reverse frontage road. That'll be part of it. Not sure that.
Just so everybody knows, can you kind of give us some idea of where's Stony Brook, where's Corkscrew Road on that map, so everybody understands?
All right, so here's this is our site plan that shows the subdivision or the project we're doing. The gas station in the northwest corner of the project area. You got Stony Brook Golf Drive to the west and Corkscrew Road to the north. This is the signal that was put in too long ago to do the widening. So as mentioned, the gas station will go up over here. It's 6 pumps facilities, so you got 12 fueling positions, and that's the gas station right there.
Now, if you drive north from your gate right here, the property's on the right.
Yeah. I understood it. I was just more for people in the audience.
So as I mentioned, we'll have a driveway connection that goes into the project on Stony Brook Golf Drive. One of the things we're doing as part of the project is we're doing some widening and improvements to the road by identifying a left turn lane and clarifying the access into the project. There'll be some restrictions on when we can use this driveway going left because of the congestion created by the school. So when that happens, there's certain hours of the day that we can't use this entrance for left turns. They can only use the reverse frontage road, which is a new road that will be along the north side of the wetland. This right here is, if you drive past it, it looks like a dirt road already. So years ago, they started building the road, and it just never happened. So that's where that road is going.
Just go back. So during the school hours, they won't be using that top road.
During school hours, they won't be able to turn. There'll be signage preventing people from turning left into here. The thought being that sometimes as traffic backs up, getting back on the Corkscrew.
So
All the time when school's in process. Yeah.
okay, so if somebody's coming in, they're going to go further down and go in that other road?
Yeah, they could come down this other road, or they could continue through the intersection and use their other entrance off Corkscrew to circle back to the gas station.
Okay.
That would make more sense because it completely eases the traffic from the school during school hours.
Yes, so and that's the thought, is that, with the congestion that you have on school days, people aren't going to want to enter that traffic to try to get a gas station. They'll either use this other entrance, the south entrance, or look at another gas station.
Will there be signage there to direct them?
Yeah, there'll be signage posted right here, with those hours and limitations and everything.
Okay, so during, and I'm just being devil's advocate here, during school hours, so I go into the other driveway, I get my gas, my coffee, and I want to go back out, but I want to go west. I'm going to go back into that traffic.
Yeah, you would have to, yes, you would have to go back in the traffic, and that's why we're improving the turn lanes and doing some widening there to improve that situation.
You should try to get through some of those parents at rush hour. Good luck.
Good luck on that.
Yeah, I just,
And there's no plan to put a light there to the east on the north side, correct? That
No.
other access?
No,
it's too close.
firehouse lane now.
No, where's Firehouse Lane? I might ask you, where's Firehouse Lane now? Why are we using that road for anything instead of putting everything on Stony Brook?
Well, the original zoning always had it configured this way. That was approved quite a number of years ago, probably 20 years ago in the county. That's how it was intended. The gas station will always be here. I do have another plan I'll show it. This is the track where the self-storage
But
is
that's not
done.
my question. Why come you're not using Firehouse Lane as opposed to Stony Brook?
It's just the way the site was configured. We did at some point earlier on in our process, when we tried to rezone it, we tried to work with the school board to use Firehouse Lane. We were proposing a dedicated lane along the north side of the wetland between our road and the wetland that we were going to try to work with the school board today to have a very long stacked lane, try to funnel the traffic from the school path pickup towards Firehouse Lane. They would be using it. But that never went anywhere. I think the school didn't have the funding for it, and it just never logistically got
Is
worked.
Firehouse Lane a private road?
It's not county maintained, so I'm assuming it's a private road. I don't know if it's owned by-
Ours isn't county maintained either.
Yes, I don't know if this is a village-owned road or it's not the county.
My
But
biggest,
the regional question was, why not put a light on Firehouse
they're too close.
Road?
They're too close.
Not, what's too close?
The DOT says they're too close.
The county is very stringent on when they put out traffic signals. Traffic signals slow down traffic ultimately. They don't want to space them any closer than they need to unless there's...
And why not put the gas station on the east side by Firehouse Road?
Just for, it makes more sense to keep the gas station at where the traffic light is, obviously for,
Move the traffic light.
well, again, it's not part of our zoning. We would actually have to go through a whole new rezoning process to do it. This was the only location in the zoning that allowed us to put the gas station.
Okay, my concern is, and I know I speak for a lot of the residents, yeah, it's going to be great to come in the other door, you know, the other entrance. Everybody's going to go out that same road by the light.
Which is going to jam up our
All
exit flow.
the residents are going to have trouble getting in and out. The fuel trucks, the garbage trucks, because, and I know that in speaking with people in the past, oh, they'll go out the other way. You are not going to get a fuel truck to come out, go down, do a U-turn, and head back east, or west. My directions are not good. They're all going to use that traffic light, and it's just, I mean, as residents, and I don't normally use the back gate because I live on the other side of the community, but when I do, even when it's not school, there's a ton of our traffic. So I don't understand how we are going to alleviate traffic. It's just going to be just so, I
We're
mean,
not really going to alleviate traffic, we're going to accommodate traffic.
but you're going to
Going to increase traffic.
You're going to increase a tremendous amount of traffic with
lot.
those trucks. And I'm just saying that if you should come here during a regular day and just try to get in and out of here. And for the residents that use the back gate, I mean, you need to, because I don't normally use it, but you know what the traffic is like there without the garbage trucks, the fuel trucks, the convenience store, the gas station. And no one is going to tell me that these people are going to use that other exit to go east, to turn around a U-turn and come back west.
You know, the situation we're in here, and I know you know, because
Yeah.
you know the meeting. Stony Brook was originally approved as the first group kind of DRI. The traffic was analyzed. The answer at the time, and it goes back far enough, was under Lee County jurisdiction in the fringe future land use category, and then the county created this privately funded infrastructure overlay. And so the answer to address the traffic in this project was to do the CRSA. And some of you probably remembered that assessment. And then it came time for the second assessment that was originally envisioned and everybody showed up and said, we don't want to do that. And that was actually to do the funding for the widening all the way out to Bella Terra that's happening now. So the traffic was analyzed when it went through the original project, and then Al came back in on just his commercial parcel and rezoned that, and traffic was evaluated again. And for the developer state that they're in now, it was reanalyzed. And for any of you who go to village meetings, getting through the village process is not a cakewalk.
We know.
They are tough, and they scrutinize traffic, lighting, drainage, you name it. They analyze it very carefully. So I don't think we're here to tell you that there's going to be less traffic. We're here to tell you that the traffic has been evaluated and the design has been evaluated and it meets the rules.
The traffic study did not include Stony Brook Road.
Our traffic study? The traffic analysis included the analysis of the roads to the project.
You included it for your gas station, not for Stony Brook Road, including the school traffic.
Well, our traffic consultants did go out during the time of school drop-off and analyze.
For Stony Brook Road.
For Stony Brook, yes.
Golf drive.
Golf drive. So they did,
Your study includes traffic on Stony Brook Road?
well, they included the background traffic, plus they've also went out there during the school time
They
to
did
see
count.
the traffic, and they count to see the stacking that's going on. And that was what we went back and forth with the village, and that's how we ultimately came up with these hourly restrictions for the use of the road, the design of the road, and different things. And there's also restrictions on turning left out of this gas station for the hours as well. Actually, the way it's designed, it precludes any left turns out of here trying to cross over that school traffic, so it's not going to.
Okay, let me-
I didn't see that in the presentation to the village, the traffic study for Stony Brook Road.
The one that was prepared by QR Transportation,
Yep.
it should be in there.
About 36 pages, nothing in there.
And how's it going to be enforced if that's a private road, a private public road? The police will not go in there and issue tickets on that road. And so how's it going to be enforced?
Well, the police, as my understanding,
Not unless they get invited in.
Well,
They can't take it.
Public road, and the
That's not a public road.
It's a private
It's a
road.
private road with
CDD
public
roads are
access.
public roads.
It's a private road with public access.
Tony, I'm going to refer to you for CDD roads or public roads the last time I checked.
Which road are we talking about now?
This-
Stony Brook Golf Drive
Stony Brook Golf Drive.
It's a district road.
that we own.
It's a district road. They can't.
And the district's a government, so it's a government road.
Yeah, although the local entities, I think the village considers them as a private street or road. Under the
Yes.
definition.
It's private from the sense, as far as I understand, it's private
The
from the
police
sense as
can't-
far as maintenance.
Police cannot come into this community and issue a ticket without permission from the HOA. And that's true of that road as well. So how's it going to be enforced?
Well, if it becomes an issue, then the village or the CDD has a right to.
I know how to
Okay.
airport, Stanley. Have any of you met Stanley Knight?
Yes.
Stanley's out there. No.
He's not a cop.
He's not a cop.
We pay-
Okay, wait. One at a time, please. One at a time. Terry, you were speaking, and then I'll get you,
The other question I have is, have you had the EPA evaluate the distance of that gas station from school property?
EPA?
EPA.
I mean, we're
have you had them evaluated?
well, we're going through, so the architect here knows design, we've done our site design, we've met all the what master requirements for the state, and we're going through.
If the school can't build X number of feet from a gas station, conversely, a gas station can't build X number of feet to a school. And I ask you, I challenge you to get EPA approval before you move forward on this project. Or we will by lawyers.
okay. Just, Ralph, I'll get you in just a second. All right, so you're saying coming out of the gas station, I can't make a left-hand turn?
Going into the gas entrance right here is set up, they want the traffic to use the southern entrance.
Okay.
Another question.
Ralph was next.
No, I'm telling you, I was at the meeting with this gentleman too, with the zoning and planning design meeting that day. And the reason I'm not using Firehouse Road, because it's a private road. Ours is a private road. My recommendation, and I'm only one person, but I've spoken to numerous residents, My recommendation to the CDD is you deny them access to that road. And that's all there is to it. I mean, that's our private road. We decide who goes on that road. It's your decision whether you allow them to be on that road. If I was on the CDD, I would tell you right now that I would vote not to allow them access. End of story.
We voted not to allow them to give, what did Southwest Florida Water Management need from us?
I just want to look at something.
We said no.
Okay.
Well, can I ask you a question? I'm really going to ask it to Mr. Adams and Mr. Peters. This property is assessed by the CDD. It's part of the CDD. So if you're going to tax them and assess them for the road and then not let them use the road, and you're not going to let property drain away historically drained, which is required by South Florida, that, in my opinion, that creates a problem, and I don't think you can preclude them from using roads they've been paying for.
Guys, it become a legal
You
issue.
can evaluate it, the design, you can certainly have Johnson look at the drainage and the road, but I don't think you can say no.
Okay.
Well, the district is a government body, it's a public road. From the standpoint of the public has the right to use it. But the district can regulate the utilization of its roads in some respect to protect its assets and its inventory and its property. So, and from the standpoint of if they paid assessments to date, I'm not going to get into that whole discussion. I'm just going to say that it's defined as a private street by the village. It's a district road, so the general public has access generally. We can regulate it, but not totally restricted.
Okay, so being that we're, just so I understand, so we're a government agency, we own the road, we are required to open it to the public, but we can determine how it's to be used, or regulate it in some way.
I guess the question is, we have this issue with regards to, they want to make turn lanes, they want to do other improvements to it, and I guess the question is, do we want that to take place?
Okay.
That's exactly, I want to piggyback on that because you briefly mentioned you're going to widen the road. You didn't say, how are you going to widen it? To what area will be widened? I'm going to presume the CDD would have a say whether they would allow you to widen it. And I would turn to the CDD attorney, but you just briefly said, oh, we're going to widen the road and have left turns. That's CDD land. Who made the decision to widen the road without CDD authority? And that's where I would turn to the CDD attorney. But just saying it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Well, I think that's one of the things that they're asking us to do, is to give them authority to widen the road, to make a left-hand turn coming out of there. I just, and I know, Al, we had discussions with this, and this is not just my opinion, and I am not trying to sway the community, as was brought up. This is input from the community, and that's why I think so many people are here today. I just don't feel that it's going to be beneficial for the community to have all that traffic on that road when it can't, I mean, there's a limit to how far you can widen it, number one. And number two, I understand the traffic studies. I just don't believe that it's not going to hurt the community down the road.
I have a question.
Okay, and then I have two people over here. Three.
So the water from the gas station is going to drain through the spillway through Stony Brook, correct?
Correct.
So, in the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to do complete regrassing in the golf course. We've talked over and over, and we're going to do it. What are the guarantees that water, we won't have any kind of contaminants or what coming from a gas station? You realize that when you put Bermuda grass down to grow, you need the highest quality water level you can have. And look, I'm all about growing the community, making better things, but I don't see where this, the golf course is a ecological entity and it needs to be protected. And I don't see where a gas station And, I've been to a lot of gas stations, it's not really clean water coming out and gas on the ground, and how is that going to help our golf course? I see that being a hindrance to our golf course.
And I do know when we spoke, they said there's going to be a filter. I've asked how often the filter would be changed, looked at. I'm not comfortable with all that.
Just to
Wouldn't you
clarify.
say the design of gas stations have changed over time? If it's the tanks, they're double wall, TDP, highly regulate those.
I understand what you're saying.
How often will the filter be changed and checked?
Let me clarify. So there is no physical filter. What we have is a dry pre-treatment system, a dry detention area that catches the initial flush of water before it's allowed to go into the wetland. And obviously the wetland would...
It's a natural filtration.
And how often would that be checked to verify?
It's something that's going to be maintained as part of the master system.
How often?
I don't know if there's a set schedule for those. I mean, typically, it's no different than the golf course does. I mean, the POA for this project will have its own property owners association that will be responsible for maintaining their road, their drainage pipes, their dry detention system, and so on. If it's not maintained, it's not going to...
But if it's going to affect the golf course, I feel that and it will, because the water is what supports all the homes, that you heard the bill, whether we water our lawns or not, the water does affect the irrigation within the community, and the golf course. So yes, we have a true vested interest in what goes there and how it's maintained. So if you're saying that there is another association that's going to maintain it, it's affecting our livelihood here. If this golf course goes down, the price of these homes is going to plummet.
Right. Let me just say this. I hear what you're saying. Under the South Florida rules, there's a historic flow, and downstream people have to accept historic flow. This project was designed, the backbone system, designed to accept water from this property. You're right, water quality is an issue, and just like you're worried about gas stations, Chuck is well aware of the fact that through time there was this concern about the real evil with golf courses and too much fertilizer, and so everything has changed over time. South Florida and DP have gotten much more restricted in regard to all uses, so they are concerned about water quality. This project is not allowed to contaminate the downstream.
How are we going to audit it and monitor it so we know that it's not affecting it?
Well, the answer is there's going to be special and limiting conditions or general conditions on the permit that are going to require those.
Okay, and I believe if this goes through, I feel that this community needs a true breakdown of what, when, and how it's going to be audited. Now, we had some questions. I'll get you next, Mr. Reynolds.
Okay, I've listened to your presentation so far, and you get to the west side of Stony Brook Golf Drive. You haven't mentioned what you're doing to the people that live there, because you're destroying their lives with the noise and everything else that's going there. Now you're talking about widening the road, moving closer to these people. What do the people that live on Weymouth expect other than all the noise? What are you going to do to help to abate that? I don't see any drawing, any barriers, nothing there.
Any discussion, anything?
Well, there's two things. One, and I know Eileen knows this, that there's a Chapter 5 of the Site Development Standard, and they have done a noise analysis and revisited that. It's not going to be a noise impact on those residents. Second,
I don't believe it. Ask the people that live there right now with the wall, with nothing protecting Stony Brook from corkscrew. It's nicer than hell.
well, that's right. And noise isn't cumulative, and you do have background noise, and that showed up strongly in the noise analysis. And this isn't the landscaping plan, but the village has required and evaluated the landscaping plan because of the concern about the residents. I'm not the expert on plans, so.
And I think the village also said you should come to the HOA and discuss it. Now, I'm on the board, and you guys have not come to discuss it with us at all.
I suggested that at the meeting. I'm still waiting to hear from you.
When are you going to do
Okay,
that?
all right, we have a gentleman back here that,
Does the CDD have the authority to make Stony Brook Drive from the gate out to Corkscrew a one-way street?
I don't know. Tony? Oh, we can't do that with the school.
We're bringing buses through.
Okay, that's a good thought, but I don't think we can do that because the school, we can close the school.
Bring the bus in, Stony Brook Drive, and then go out.
But then all the parents picking them up, that would be,
They'd all have to come through our community.
yeah, we don't want to do that. Okay, Marcia, you had a question?
Yeah, I do. What exactly is your screening perimeter of the gas station to a public school?
Distance?
Yes.
Well, it's a few hundred feet, I don't know the exact dimension. But as far as the screening question, and this goes back to the other question too. So as a gas station, you're required to have an enhanced buffer along all road frontages, which includes a berm, heavy landscaping, trees and shrubs. We'll also have landscaping along between the road and the wetland, and then you have the wetland that creates a natural buffer too. So from the school, I find it highly unlikely that you're going to see the gas station because of the wetland preserve to the south. From the roads, again, we have our buffers adjacent to the roads, and then we have additional landscaping. And again, the noise study, at Rudolph's point, when the noise study was done, what they found is that the background noise of Corkscrew Road essentially exceeds the noise that would be generated by a gas station, so you essentially not even going to hear noise in the gas station, which your background road noise is already well above that.
That isn't what I was asking. So if I understand you correctly, you're saying that the gas station is going to be, you said, I believe that you said a few hundred feet from the public school. Is that what you said?
Yeah, the public school is much further south over here.
So, and you're saying that you're going to be a few hundred feet. According to the EPA, you have to be over 1,000 feet away. A gas station or a fuel dispensing facility has to be over 1,000 feet away from a public school. Now, you're telling us that it's only going to be a few hundred feet away. You are not abiding by the federal laws.
Of course, I want to give it the room.
But guess what? The EPA will be.
And also selling alcohol within a certain footage within the school zone.
I just have a question. This is Stony Brook Drive.
Yes.
Which way are you planning on expanding the road?
Towards your development or?
Well, both. So at the intersection, there's already 3 lanes.
Yeah.
What we're doing is we're taking that 3-lane design and extending and bringing it further south. So we're not making the right-of-way bigger. If you look at the lane width almost at the intersection, we're essentially extending that.
Is that on the east side or the west side? That's
what I'm asking.
You guys can see that? Want him to turn around and show
Should
you?
be in our garage. Are we have this, is this that blown up?
Yeah, but it's...
Okay, is it on the east side or the west
All right,
side?
so-
We're widening on both sides of the road, just widening the road.
Equal on both
There's
sides.
really no room to widen on the west side.
No, there really
So
isn't.
we're basically taking out, like I said, that cross-section's at the north, we're just extending that same cross-section.
So it would be encroaching on your property and not our property.
Well, it'll still be within the right-of-way.
But it would still be encroaching on...
I'm saying you can't go further west. I mean, the road is already as far west as it can go to the west. There's a berm there and a pond on the other side of that berm.
Oh, yeah, that's on the outside of the right-of-way.
Right.
Yes. We're not going outside the right-of-way.
Okay, Al, as the engineer for this, what hurdles do you still have to overcome to get approval for this project? Through the city, through whomever? I just want to understand that.
So we've submitted to South Florida Water Management District. They've essentially approved our design, our drainage design, configuration. We are working through some...
You said essentially. Is it like, what do you still need from them?
Well, as I say, so the only thing left to be worked out with the Water Management District is they've identified some new wetlands on the property that we're going through the mitigation process for that. Once that mitigation is paid for, the amount that is determined and paid for, they'll be issuing our permit. With the Village of Estero, we've submitted our applications multiple times, not back and forth, where they analyze lighting, traffic, drainage design, all elements of the project. We're down to getting the authorization from the CDD, and then they just had some clarification of some buffering between our road and the wetland. That's it. So again, we're very close to having the Village of Estero pushing us to the next point where we get to their city council meeting.
So what exactly do you need from us?
We need from the CDD list The way the village looks at it is because we're accessing your roads and discharging to your wetland, they would like the CDD to sign the authorization forms to essentially be like a co-applicant to our application.
So the Department of Transportation has already signed off on there's enough area to put or extend and/or put either, I guess, a wider turn lane or longer turn lane?
The village has reviewed that, and they have we've addressed any comments they had. And again, most of their comments were...
DOT on our entrance.
Yeah, we did.
But I guess it could be...
Just to answer you, and the other thing we're doing is with Lee County, because we are doing work in Corkscrew Road, which is owned by Lee County, we do have separate applications to them where they're analyzing our utility design and our turn lane design going into the project.
Okay.
A lot of this is back and forth. A lot of this is the back and forth, and I'm sorry, but I get it. You pay taxes, you own the land, but everybody else here pays taxes as well. And we own the land as well.
Long-term effects.
Just let me finish. So you have a standing, and you want your business. I think you can tell. I don't think there's anybody in here in this room that wants your business there. So I guess you can continue down. I don't really think we should give them the authorization. That's my opinion.
I make a
But
motion we
just
deny.
hang on a second. The thing is, as a community, we've got to decide how far we want to go with this. Because all I hear in the last hour is the word litigation. At the end of the day, we can talk about drainage, we can talk about traffic, we can talk about noise, we can talk about visuals. But as a community, if we're willing to pitch on and say, we're going to fight this, then we need to be prepared to go to litigation.
Okay. Ralph?
That's not where we want to go.
I'm not saying I want to go there either.
Okay.
But let's be
But
honest.
we need a reasonable use of property.
Right.
I apologize, I have another meeting that I will
Okay.
get to.
No problem.
I just want to say one last thing, that I personally am dead set against any gas station at that property. We can have better use of that property, and if we have to go to a legal battle, I urge the CDD and the community to go forward.
Okay.
Because they're going to have to spend the same amount of money we do.
And again, I'm not saying that because I want that to happen. I just think everybody in this room that's a resident has to realize that if you want us to fight this, which my feeling is the board is probably going to fight this, but that may end up being a result of us fighting it. You have to realize we are elected officials and we listen to and I understand you are part of that district, but a bigger part of that district doesn't want this. So,
Okay,
I
excuse-
appreciate that. I appreciate the gentleman who doesn't want a gas station, but the property's known. That's what it's doing.
Okay.
I understand.
Okay.
I get it.
Come on, one at a time.
I understand.
Okay. Jen, I'm sorry.
Yes, I have a suggestion. Since there's a question about the EPA, why don't you table it until the EPA has a legitimate decision made to the distance of the school?
Agreed.
And now, you don't have to do anything with it until that time. You're not obligated to do anything. That's a bigger issue than their use of the road. It's a bigger issue for the safety of the kids. The alcohol being sold is another issue that is a problem. I think putting it back in that question, and it's got to be addressed, now it forces them to have to address it instead of just sliding it past.
Very good. Thank you, John. Well, Mike?
Yeah, we might not be able to stop them from having a gas station there, but we can sure as hell stop them from using our road. They can have access off of Corkscrew. They want the light. You guys got to know. They don't get it.
I don't deal in absolutes.
Okay.
And I don't guarantee results. So I would not say that we can absolutely prevent them from using that road. Again.
We can try.
Well, again, there's a reasonable level of discretion that the board has with regards to authorizing work in the district right of way. Right now, that property has access to another public road by virtue of the district's road.
Right.
And the question is the district amenable? The district does not get into zoning, permitting, land use matters per se. We don't have that authority. But from the standpoint of utilization of district facilities and assets, yes.
Okay.
But the point is well taken that that property has paid operation and maintenance assessments for years, which helps pay for the operation and maintenance of that road and the stormwater management
Have you looked at the
system.
road?
Pardon?
Have you looked at the road?
Well, to the extent that there has been any operations and maintenance activities. And so I think the district has the ability to decide what is proposed to go in the district's right-of-way, whether that's appropriate or not, and whether from an engineering and an impact on district facilities perspective, and then whether or not that would also entail additional buffering or mitigation measures with regards to the district road and the residents that will be affected by the increased trip generation on the district road over what currently exists. So I don't deal in absolutes. I would not say we're absolutely going to win. And lawyers can get creative also as to the types of damages they can request, especially in the land use context, especially in the state of Florida, where there's a real high protection of private property rights in the state of Florida, with a number of pieces of legislation that have been adopted in the last few years. So it's not just a matter of attorney's fees. It might be, and Neil can be creative.
I can be creative, he's right.
They can be creative, the law firm can be creative, and whether or not they prevail or not, Neil will never guarantee a result to their client, but she will give them what she thinks would be the outcome. So again, and I think that the district then cannot totally stop. The district can make its comments known, and right now, it is a district right away. You can say, no, we don't want to, based upon the plans we've seen, to sign off on the authorization to do work in the district right away. And then, I guess in the level of detail that's been provided, it's hard to see from all that. And I don't know if the engineers have evaluated it either, district engineers, as far as the width, the turn lanes, and the other impacts that they have.
Chuck, is that something?
We'd be happy to meet with your engineers to go through the project, all elements of the project.
That would be Johnson?
And again, from South Florida Water Management District perspective, there are two permits, or applications permits, being applied for, one for the storage facility and one for this site. In South Florida, as you can see from the email that's in the packet, they're traveling together. South Florida's not going to allow one without the other.
Okay.
And there are some additional environmental issues by virtue of a request for additional information that was made in September. Al's firm replied back on December 27th, and I think that's what he's referring